Alright guys, yeah, I thought I'd do a quick video on my PC Engine Joystick. This is the Hori Fighting Stick PC. I think it was primarily released for Street Fighter 2, you know, because of the 6 buttons. It's a nice metal stick, you can see. It's all nice. The thing is, I don't really play Street Fighter 2 much on the PC Engine, and I thought I'd optimise the 6-button layout more for, you know, your standard 2-button games. So I've done a few mods to it. You know, well, the first one I did initially was take out the stock stick, which is this one here. It's not a bad stick as stock. You know, this is console quality stick, and it does feel nice. But I wanted to put an arcade stick in there. You know, just because I like meddling with things. So yeah, that's the stock stick which is in there, which is pretty surprising that it's got a metal mounting plate on there, which usually, you know, console sticks don't. But as you can see, the joystick knob is a little bit smaller than your usual like Sanwa or Sumitsu. So yeah, in this joystick now, I'll open it up in a second. It's got a Ls32 joystick. And another thing, I changed that initially because I think the joystick's more important than the buttons. But then I thought, oh, I like the Sanwa buttons because you can go really fast with 2 fingers. I guess you just go do really fast auto fire. Because the stock buttons, like, they're a little bit too clunky, I thought. But here, the stock buttons, they're not as easy to change. I'll show you how to do the joystick now. The joystick is pretty straightforward, but the buttons are a bit of a pain. Because if you imagine, here are the original buttons, right, which came with it, which are nice buttons. They're not like the green Goblin Dreamcast stick. The buttons are shocking. You press on the side there, they just twist, and they're really rattly. But these are really nice buttons. They're just a little bit too firm than what I like the Sanwa light action, whereas these are a little bit more resistant. But if you look, they don't get, because these aren't wired to a PCB or anything, or you know, wired to a PCB with wire. They're actually hardwired to a PCB on the inside. It makes sense when I open it up now. But if you look, the stock buttons are really small contacts on there, and if you imagine, they go into a PCB and then soldered from the opposite side. Which, if you imagine, with a Sanwa spacing, it's not going to work. So if you look at the difference there, it's not going to go in the holes on the PCB. So I had to do it a different way. But anyway, I'll pop it open now, so you can see what I've done on the inside. Because I've reconfigured these buttons and sort of daisy chained these with jumper wires, so I could use the select and run button for extra buttons here, and like dedicated auto fire buttons. Right, so I'll swap over now, okay? Right, so this is the inside of the stick. Right, I've just cut that back. Yeah, it looks like a mess, but I'll explain why now. Right, there's an arcade Ls32, Sumitsu Ls32 joystick, and that pretty much just bolts straight in. If you imagine the plate which came off, everything lines up and you just bolt it straight in. But there's one issue, right? If you imagine the length of that stick there, how bulky it is, and Ls32 is slightly longer, the shaft is slightly longer. So what you've got to do is, I'm jumping the gun here, but on the bottom of the plate, you can see there, there's a slight bevel. I'm not sure if you can see it. There's a slight dent, because when you put this lid back on, when you put the case back on again, this is pretty much touching, well, it's touching the bottom of this case. So if you imagine, when you turn the joystick, it's rubbing. So what I did was just get a piece of metal and just put a slight dent in the case. You can cut a hole in there. Oh, that's better. If you can see there, see? It's a very subtle hole. Yeah, looks like I put some sticky sponge on the bottom as well. It's a very cold stick on your legs. But yeah, you can see there, it's under there, it is. That's the only like really intrusive thing you've got to do. And the buttons, right? Oh god, I can't do this one. As you imagine, the holes there, which is where the old buttons went through, Like I said, the sandwires, they're not going to fit through the holes. So what you got to do is, it's quite extreme, but you got to well, I daisy chained all, well, wired all the buttons around the PCB through the other side. And also then, because I thought, right, because I'm going to use this for two player games, because as standard, this is button 2 and that's button 1. The thing is, on the arcade machine, I always rest my hand there, and that's you know, button 2, which is really button 1 on the PC Engine. So these are your two main buttons, but I didn't like it down there because the hand's hanging off the edge, so I wanted to rest them there. So what I did was, oh, bear with me, it's not a very professional video, is it? What I did was, I put jumper leads. So basically, if you imagine Street Fighter 2, the strong kick is now medium punch, and medium kick, which is button 1, is now on the weak. Do you know what I mean? So I moved the buttons, the two kick buttons on the end, to the two punch buttons at the top. So link to those. So now I can rest my hand. That's the first button. That's the second button. You know, 2, 1 on the PC Engine. But then I thought, when I play like Ninja Spirit, say, or the Hudson shoot 'em ups, like say Soldier Blade, you've got to use select to change your speed. I thought, oh, you play Soldier Blade now, you've got to reach over here, change your speed. Or say you play Ninja Spirit and you want to change your weapon. You know, you're trying to jump, change your weapon. It's a bit inconvenient. So what I did then was, I found which lead goes from start or run and select, and I wired it directly to the two unused buttons on the end. So basically, I rewired. Select is now there. So say you're playing Soldier Blade, you can fire, use your bomb, to change your speed just with that button there. And I thought, I may as well, because I got this spare button here, I may as well wire start or run button to the end. Like say you're playing Adventure Island, you know, Wonder Boy 3, you can pause it, or an RPG where you got to press start or run to enter the menu. It'll be easier than just reaching. So that's that. So basically, button 2, which is 1 on the PC Engine, second button, select, and then run start. And then I thought, why don't I use these two buttons as auto fire buttons for these two buttons? So what I've done is put more jumper wires across, and now this has got auto fire, which is activated by this one here. So that's auto fire for that, and that one there is auto fire for this. So imagine this is normal now, and this is auto fire at the same time. So you haven't got to switch it on and off. So imagine on a say you're playing R-Type on a pad, and you wanted to do a full beam, you'd have to turn the auto fire off, charge it up, release it, and then turn the auto fire back on for your normal shot to be auto fire. Whereas now, set up like this, I can have dedicated auto fire for that button, and dedicated auto fire for that one, and this is still single shots. Yeah, I'll plug it in the PC Engine now to show you what I mean. It'll make more sense, honest. Okay, right, it's all plugged in now. Right, yeah, this is on the EverDrive, this is the Chris Cavell pad test, which is handy when you're wiring pads up. If you can imagine now, it's in 2-button mode. And if you look on the joystick now, that's button 2, you know, the first button, and that's normal, and then below it, auto fire. So you've got dedicated, you go back, dedicated button there, and auto fire. So you could be on R-Type, auto fire with that, then full beam, release it, and still have auto fire. And then you've got a second button there, a dedicated auto fire underneath. Which is, it's a lot more convenient because you haven't got to keep, you know, switching this halfway through. And the end button there is select, you know, for like Ninja Spirit or Soldier Blade, you'll be firing and just change your weapon or your speed. And just because it's just easier to reach. That's your start button there, for your run button. Yeah, so basically now, if I put it in 6-button mode, Street Fighter 2 mode, it goes to chaos now. So I press that button, it does all three. And I do that button, and it does those two. Some bizarre reason. And that does that, yeah, I don't know. It's all crazy now, but the thing is, I never use it for Street Fighter 2. And I thought, why restrict myself to these two buttons here, and not have dedicated auto fire, and have to reach for select and reach for start, when I could just put those, those little jumper wires, and make it more playable for, 99% of the other games. Because now it's so much easier to rest your hand there, just hit the button. It's a really comfortable joystick now. But there you go. There's my little Hudson sticker there as well. So I had all this as stock. It's got like stickers above here. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I thought, why leave those on her now? Because it's pretty much irrelevant, because it's all to pot now, the config. But I think now it's a lot more usable. Yeah, it's pretty nice. But yeah, it's a lovely little stick. There's a really nice base on it, nice and metal. It's a little bit Bowie mine, but it's a really nice stick if you can get it for a good price. But yeah, there you go. Thought I'd do a quick video on it, and yeah, catch you soon.